Some of the most successful people in the world devote half their day to doing only things that bring them closer to their personal and financial goals. And they do this without giving up their full-time jobs, hiring a personal assistant, or cloning themselves. So how do they manage this incredible feat? They rewire their habits. Research shows that nearly half of our daily actions are driven by repetition or habits. If you can change your habits, you can change your life. That's the main idea behind James Clear's Atomic Habits, and this is a top 5 takeaway summary of the book. You're watching The Financial Vault, bringing you the best tips and tricks for reaching financial freedom through financial education and habits. Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. We all want $1 million in our checking account, a vacation house on the beach, and an alternate series finale for Game of Thrones. But unless we win the lottery or are seated next to George R.R. Martin and an HBO exec at our cousin's wedding, those aren't going to happen as quickly as we'd like. Overnight success stories are rare because they are nearly impossible to replicate. Few people in history will strike it big in a short amount of time with a small amount of effort. Instead of improving by 100% in an area of your life, look to improve by 1% again and again. James Clear says, if you want to predict where you'll end up in life, all you have to do is follow the curve of tiny gains or tiny losses and see how your daily choices will compound 10 or 20 years down the line. In other words, a lot of small wins will aggregate over time. If you can improve any area of your life by 1% every month, then you will experience astounding results. We can see this principle easily in our financial health. If you increase the contribution to your IRA or 401k accounts by 1% each year, you'll save significantly more for retirement without feeling much change in your lifestyle. Other marginal gains, like skipping takeout and putting that $20 in your investment account instead, or finding an index fund with a lower expense ratio, all compound and move you closer to your financial goals. Of course, this principle applies the other way around too. Tiny losses can compound quickly. A series of small, bad investments can move you farther from your financial goals than if you hadn't invested at all. Focus on netting little wins in the right direction, and watch your self-improvement soar. Your habits shape your identity, and your identity shapes your habits. There are 3 layers of behavior change: a change in your outcomes, a change in your process, or a change in your identity. And when most people try to change their behavior, they focus on the outcome. They tell themselves, I want to lose 20 pounds, or I want to save $30,000 this year. But those are just surface-level changes. The best habits are rooted not in outcomes, but in your identity. That's why you should start identifying as the person you want to be. Instead of saying, I want to lose 20 pounds, you'll tell yourself, I am a healthy person. Instead of saying, I want to save more money, you tell yourself, I am a smart investor. Your habits become a vote in favor of or against the identity you align with, and therefore become much easier to change. We don't like to contradict ourselves, so our habits will shift to accommodate our new identity. Each habit we alter is a tiny bit of evidence that we embody the identity we want. Likewise, each time we perform a bad habit, it is evidence in the other direction. The goal is to let your good habits win the majority of the time. Forget about goals. Focus on your system. 92% of people who set big goals, like New Year's resolutions, never achieve them. Conventional wisdom is to set specific, measurable goals. But why should we continue with a method with over a 90% failure rating? Instead of setting goals, focus on developing systems. If the old method would leave you with a goal like, I will increase my savings by $30,000 this year, then you should ask yourself what makes it possible to save $30,000 by the end of the year. Better yet, ask yourself what someone who saves tens of thousands of dollars a year does. Do they go grocery shopping without a list? Do they watch TV before bed or read a chapter from an investment book? Each time you repeat a habit that supports your system, you're raking in that sweet self-improvement compound interest. Use the 4 laws of behavior change to build better habits. As anyone who has tried to break the habit of hitting their snooze button in the morning can confirm, changing habits can be challenging. James Clear says any habit can be broken down into a feedback loop that involves 4 steps: cue, craving, response, and reward. That feedback loop can be our downfall. The cue of your alarm clock ringing makes you crave more sleep, which causes the response of hitting the snooze button and gives us the reward of 5 more minutes of sleep. But it can also be hacked to make behavior change easier. Whenever you want to change a habit, you should make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. One of the ways you can make a new habit obvious is by stacking it with an existing one by following the formula. After current habit, I will new habit. In practice, that looks like after brushing my teeth, I will wipe down the sink area. Inversely, you should try to make the cues tied to a bad habit invisible. To make a habit attractive, you can use temptation bundling. Pair an action you want to do with one you need to do. Engineering student Ronan Byrne invented a stationary bike called Cyflix that controls your Netflix stream by only playing content when you're pedaling. Inversely, make a bad habit unattractive by thinking of all the benefits you'll reap if you skip it. To make habits easy, downscale difficult ones into smaller, more manageable bits. So instead of entirely eliminating takeout from your life, start by scaling back to Taco Tuesdays only. Habits also get easier the more you do them, so get in as many reps of your new actions as possible. Inversely, make bad habits as difficult to do as possible. Delete all of your food delivery apps and throw away your takeout menus. Humans are primed for immediate satisfaction. However, the rewards of good habits, like healthy eating, often take a long time to produce results. It will help if you get an immediate reward for doing your habit. So if you skip spending money at happy hour after work, tuck a few dollars into a jar for something fun you're saving for. Or create a visual streak by tracking your habits on a calendar. A row of big green check marks can be so satisfying. To make bad habits less enjoyable, create a negative consequence for yourself by setting up a habit contract with an accountability partner. Know the Goldilocks rule. The Goldilocks rule states that humans experience peak motivation when working on tasks right on the edge of their current abilities. When tasks are too easy, you'll get bored and lose your motivation. And when tasks are too difficult, you'll fail, which leads to, you guessed it, losing your motivation. Applying the Goldilocks rule to your habit-building journey means being aware of when you're sitting in the sweet spot of happiness and flow, and tweaking your habits and systems when you feel yourself slipping into boredom or failure. If you can stay in the Goldilocks zone, your self-improvement will quite literally never stop. You can drastically improve your life in any area by compounding small improvements. Habits shape your identity, and your identity shapes your habits. For best results, you should begin identifying as the person you want to be now. Creating effective systems is better than focusing on setting goals. You can use the 4 laws of behavior change to make or break any habit. And you can continue improving and evolving by following the Goldilocks rule. Now, you should check out this video. YouTube thinks you'll love it, and so do I.